So Xbox is in the headlines again, and it's really not going well for them. And I have to ask the question, is this really that surprising? I mean, if we really look at Xbox in general, they've kind of been on the decline for quite some time. And this is well past the point where we've seen these negative news items recently, like Game Pass price hikes. Is this going to be the last Xbox in a string of all these canceled or flopped games that we've seen recently? And so today I wanted to talk about this and look at the bigger picture to everything because, to be honest with you, the reaction for a lot of people has been quite negative and makes sense in a lot of ways. We've seen, of course, the Game Pass price increases, which has gotten a lot of negativity. And before that, we saw the concerns around the Xbox hardware. So is this going to be the last Xbox? And of course, we've seen the price increases with Xbox as well. And then, of course, we've seen previous layoffs at the company, game cancellations like Perfect Dark, and this push to third party. But I mean, let's be honest, if we're really thinking about Xbox in general, the Xbox ecosystem, I mean, is this trend really that surprising? I mean, let's look at some of the games that have come out within the Xbox ecosystem. So over time, we've seen Halo 4, Halo 5, Halo Infinite. I mean, these are really not the best Halo games of all time, okay? Halo 1 through 3 is probably most people's favorites, maybe Halo Reach, but Halo has been in this just terrible state for a really long time, even to the point where Halo Infinite is trying to kind of act like Call of Duty in a lot of ways, really losing its core identity. And it just seems quite baffling to me. Why would you let the core series, the series that just quintessentially represents Xbox, go to such poor levels? I mean, to the point where it's pretty much culturally irrelevant. And then when is the next Halo game coming out? We have no idea. I mean, is it going to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now? I mean, to me, it's just baffling you would take such a popular video game series and something that really represents the brand and leave it in such a bad state, and to the point where, where's the strategy moving forward? Where's the strategy to make the next best Halo game and then make sure it doesn't come out in 7 years where it's going to be even more irrelevant within the gaming space? You can't have these 10-year development cycles. You can't have this bad video game and then another bad video game and then another bad video game and then just expect, oh yeah, well, we'll put out another game in the series in 5 years and revitalize it. I mean, you could, but that is very tough. I mean, come on, guys. It's just ridiculous. Did Echo 419 really have to die for this? It's just terrible, terrible. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. Rest in peace, 419, okay? Then we have Gears of War, okay? Gears of War 4 and 5, not the greatest games in the series. Really, just not the greatest games in the series. I think people are excited for the Gears of War Origin game coming out. Of course, you have the Gears of War Remastered, but just Gears of War hasn't had that same impact, especially those last couple of games, not the greatest. And still, I think Gears of War, could it be pretty popular? Yeah, I think so, but it doesn't have that Halo impact, right? Okay, then you have Starfield. I don't think Starfield's that great, and I think it was very disappointing for a lot of people. And so that's not great, right? There was a big expectation for Starfield to be this huge thing, this huge modding and all these other things. And what have we gotten? Something that's really not that great, not that innovative. There's the concerns around the next Elder Scrolls game. Is that going to be good? What about Fallout 5? And it's not even just like bad games. It's like bad games and wait 5 years. It's bad games and, hey, we have no idea when this game is going to come out. Okay, let's look at some other games. Overwatch 2, facing big problems. A lot of competition from Marvel rivals, right? Just in a really bad place, and it doesn't have to be because Overwatch is a cool franchise. It's got great characters. And I have a great video on this if you want to check it out. But Overwatch 2, not in a great place. Then you have World of Warcraft. I don't think World of Warcraft's in a great place. The most recent expansion update that they announced recently, Midnight, does not look good, in my opinion. But that's a topic for another day. I actually talk about old World of Warcraft in another video, 1 hour analysis. Check it out if you're really into the old World of Warcraft. Talk about a lot of things there. And then of course, we also have Diablo 3 and 4, not great trends. Of course, Diablo 4 more recently. But Diablo 4, who cares? You have Path of Exile. Okay, then you have Fable. Okay, Fable, that thing's been in development for a really long time. I don't know, or do we even have a release date soon? And then of course, the trailer did not receive a lot of positive reactions. It had a lot of negative reactions from a lot of people. And of course, you had all these canceled games like Perfect Dark, that's canceled. And then of course, all these other recent title flops. And then I would also say that there's other series that are just not utilized. You have Banjo-Kazooie. What are you doing? Take Banjo-Kazooie, make some awesome platformers. You don't need 8 years to make a Banjo-Kazooie game. You should be able to crank out a Banjo-Kazooie platformer and start competing with Nintendo or compete with Astrobot or something like that. You have a great series. You have nostalgia there. You have the core mechanics that were created a long time ago, okay? It's just, there's no excuse there. And so look at that. So you have all these game series, a lot of bad games, and just these long development cycles. When are they going to recover? I mean, we have no idea. And of course, we also have Call of Duty. Call of Duty has been declining quite a bit recently, and especially the most recent Call of Duty has gotten a lot of negative reaction. So that is not necessarily the greatest either. I mean, even with all these acquisitions that you've seen within Xbox, a lot of these game series that have been picked up have been kind of almost in their twilight years. It's not like they were, going to be the next big thing. I feel like in a lot of ways, they already had started to see some declines. Not the greatest either. And then of course, beyond the games, we also see this problem with the console. The Series S and X, you kind of have this move away from the exclusives on the console. And so why would I get an Xbox? I mean, if you're a hardcore gamer and you look at the three consoles, some make sense, but Xbox doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, there's no exclusives. If I have a gaming PC, I could just play it on PC. So why would I get an Xbox again, exactly? Oh, okay, there's Game Pass. Okay. But then you see Nintendo. Okay, Nintendo, if you want to play Mario, if you want to play Zelda, you got to get a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2. Makes sense. And I think for some people, they're like, well, I'm not really into platformers, but at least you can see the appeal of that, right? You could see the appeal of wanting to play Super Smash Bros. Or Animal Crossing or Pokemon or something like that. And I think a lot of people, they would probably say, hey, if my backlog ever gets cleared up, I'd love to go and pick up a Nintendo Switch 2 and play some of these games, or especially some of the games that you may have missed. Look at PlayStation 5. Okay, so there's exclusives there as well. Now, granted, some of the games haven't necessarily been the best. Maybe you would prefer to play them on PC, but there is still some of this, okay, I want to play some of these exclusives, and I think that they could do a better job, but at least it's better than what you see at Xbox. And so that's a big problem. And so what are you left with? You're left with Game Pass, which has this huge price increase, and it just doesn't seem worth it for a lot of people. And I really wonder to what extent, like, a lot of these problems are connected to the AI things going on at the broader company, or supply chain issues, and that is affecting maybe console prices or the viability in the future, or how they think about things. I mean, I don't know. Time will just have to tell. But I think that when you really look at this situation, the situation really could have been avoided with the most obvious answer. And that's make great games, right? It's just that simple. Make great games. And I think that part of the problem is that you have this move away from exclusives on the console, and you don't really have that great of games. I mean, you could kind of go back to this old model where, hey, if you want to play Halo or Gears of War or whatever, you have to get an Xbox. And, it seems to work for Nintendo. Maybe that model is going away. But even then, if you just make good games, that supports Game Pass, right? Or it would support your console if there was exclusives for it. Maybe you can move away from that, but you better make sure that the games are really good to make Game Pass worth it. And I think that's the core problem here. It's you gotta make great games. And as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these studios that have been acquired have kind of been in their twilight years. I mean, World of Warcraft has kind of been on that steady decline in so many ways. Or the Elder Scrolls series, there's a lot of concern. The Elder Scrolls 6, I have a video on this. Check it out if you're interested. Or the Fallout series, right? There's concern there. What about Call of Duty? A lot of people are really upset at the direction of Call of Duty or the stagnation of Call of Duty. And so ultimately, you have to have a strategy change, right? If things are bad, you have to have the strategy change. So how do you do that, right? Well, maybe you need to change leadership. Maybe you need to change the way that you do things, or you need to invest time and try to change the way that these games are developed, or try to have directives to kind of help create and promote good games. But here's the problem, right? What does all this strategy stuff necessitate? What do you need? You need time. You need time to make that happen. You need time to say, hey, let's try to put out games quicker. Hey, let's try to put out better quality games, or to make games that people want to buy, or they want to get on Game Pass to play. But it just seems like a lot of these moves seem very erratic. I mean, very erratic. These sharp increases with console prices, or with Game Pass, or this just sudden move to third party. It just seems very erratic. And I don't know if that's strategy based on time. I mean, I don't know. We'll have to see. But really, once again, it comes down to the games. I mean, just look at some of these games under the Xbox ecosystem. You have Call of Duty, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Fable, Diablo, Overwatch, StarCraft, Age of Empires, Banjo-Kazooie, Perfect Dark, Gears of War. I mean, more, and there's more games, okay? In my opinion, the game series are not the problem. There are some games where kind of the product of the past, but I just don't believe that you can't make a profitable and a fun Gears of War game. I think you absolutely can. You can absolutely make an awesome RPG with the Elder Scrolls. You can release a great RPG with Fable. Call of Duty can be innovative again and do these new things, or any of these other game series. And of course, you could try to make new games as well, new first-party titles. But what does that tell you? You have all these awesome series, but the games are mediocre. The games are not good. And when the games aren't good, it's maybe not worth it to get on Game Pass, an Xbox console. It always comes down to the games. You have to make good games. You have to make games that are fun. And I think that's the core problem. I mean, do these people understand gaming. I mean, it just seems like in so many ways, it's just like, well, Call of Duty's popular, so that must mean that if we get Call of Duty and we keep cranking out Call of Duty games, that people will get on Game Pass. I mean, maybe that could be the case, but you have to make awesome Call of Duty games. You have to make games where people go, I want to play Call of Duty right now. Is there this desire to go play the next Call of Duty for a lot of people? Not necessarily. So you have to have that passion. I almost feel like so many of the people that are like in these kind of positions within these video game companies, they're not gamers. They don't like gaming. I mean, maybe they have some understanding of gaming, but really to understand that core idea, to understand the product, you have to love gaming. You know, you have to go, I want to play some awesome video games this weekend and to relax or hang out with some people, play some co-op video games. You want that passion and it just doesn't seem there. And there's that disconnect, which once again, it always comes down to make great games. If you make great games, I think Game Pass will do okay. I think Xbox would do okay, but that's the problem. And of course, can you turn it around? Sure, you can totally turn it around, but you need time, right? You need a strategy shift. And is that going to happen? Don't know. I mean, you really have to have that time and energy. I think you have to lower those development times. You can't have these titles where you have a Halo game that doesn't do well, and then you have 7 years. You just can't do it. It gets out of the cultural popularity of something. You have to speed up the game development times. But at the same time, too, you know, if you have the game come out every single year, like Call of Duty, you get this staleness, you get this laziness, you get this situation where it gets harder and harder to innovate. It gets harder and harder to have games that really just stand out and have fun. And I think that's the core problem with Xbox. And to be honest with you, this has been something that I think a lot of gamers have seen for a long time. Just think about it. If you're a hardcore gamer, right, you play all the types of video games, maybe you have a Switch, maybe you're a PC gamer, ask yourself, why would I get an Xbox? There's no point. Just get a PlayStation 5, right? Get a Switch 2, play on PC. I mean, I can maybe understand you want to like play games like on your couch and have a controller or something, I guess, but it's just doesn't seem worth it. This just seems obvious. From the game titles to the consoles to all those things. So that's what I really wanted to say about Xbox. To me, it doesn't seem very surprising. And of course, I hope that Xbox turns it around. You know, you want competition in the market. You want to have these series do great. I want to see a great Call of Duty. I want to see an awesome Call of Duty. I want to see an awesome Elder Scrolls game. I want to see all these games do awesome. I want so many options, so many titles that I don't have enough time. There's not enough money or time to go around to play all these games. But you have to focus on the key ingredient. Create great games. It's really that simple. And hey, if you like this video, I talk a lot about video games on my channel. Check it out and consider subscribing if you're interested. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next video.